What's up YouTube? Just received my Team Magic E6 V-Gen. So Team Magic is a Taiwanese brand and they sell they sell various touring and monster trucks cars, and this car is one of their flagship cars, and it is quite an expensive car. I got it for about $600 shipped to me, and I know in some other countries like Europe, I mean Europe is a continent, but they sell it for about 800 euros. So anyway, this car comes as a roller, so the electronics do not come with it. All of these, the servo and the motor you see, it's installed by me, I mean obviously, but I had to buy them separately. So we'll go through what comes in the box, and also, you know, just talk about the features, what is upgraded out of the box, because this car has 3 versions of it. The previous versions, some of them were RTR, and some of them came with some upgrades, but none of them come as loaded as this one. And lastly, Redcat used to sell these cars in under their own branding. They used to be called MT8E, but I think they discontinued it now, so I don't think you can buy them new in US anymore. So anyway, I hope this will help some people, because I only see German reviews of this car, obviously in German language, so I don't understand that, as in I don't understand the language. And well, this is probably the second YouTube review of this car. We'll go through all the parts one by one, but let's start with the manual. So these are all the documents, or I guess papers, that come with the car. So this one is the most irrelevant. It just shows you that, I guess you should man, something with a V. You should tape your vents. Oh my god. And use rubber sealed ball bearings if you're planning to run your car in the water. But I don't speak Chinese, so I just guessed it. Anyway, gone. These are just I guess some marketing material for their bags, which are really nice. And you can see this is the smaller version, the Team Magic E5, sticking out of here. Yeah, some nice bags here. Ooh, you could take this for your like business trips. Looks that nice. Anyway, gone. All right, this is an interesting part. Excuse me. Yep. All right, so these are the hop-ups for your cars, for your E6, and I think this is the same option list that they include with the previous versions, because a lot of these parts we already have on our car. So I don't think we'll go through one by one, just pick a few random ones, but for example, CNC shock towers. We have that already, and they're really thick, 6.3 millimeters, that's crazy. The aluminum body shocks, the standoffs, yeah, we have all of that. The battery compartment, ours is completely different and much better, so this doesn't apply. The skid plates, we have the front one, the rear one. I bought it separately, it's on the way, but I think it would be nice if they included both of them. These are for speed runs, aluminum shims, we have that. These are just colored steering linkages, so we have black, but if you want yellow you can get those. More battery compartment, no, these are alloy arms. Those you don't need, well, because it's a monster truck, so why would you need aluminum arms? Center diff, we have all of those included. We have a proper center diff, not a spool. So anyway, none of this really apply to us. These come stock already, the wheels, The motor mount, ours is even better than this because it's a higher mounted motor. Aluminum pivot bolts, we have that. These we have on the front, the rear doesn't have it. Aluminum body posts. Alloy shocks again, and just thicker drivetrain parts, which we have all of that too. So, done. Alright, the manual. The manual is okay. The material itself is nice, it's glossy and it's colored, but there is some issues, you know, well, not issues, but some stuff that I wish they could have done better. So there is simpler stuff like ESC assembly, receiver assembly, servo assembly, which are really simple and you probably could figure out by yourself. But the stuff that you actually need, you know, detailed instructions. This is a diff. No complaints with the diff instructions. Anyway, the complaints I have is with the rest of the truck. These are all exploded views with the part numbers in it, and there's nothing else. There's only 3 of these exploded views. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and that's it. There is no instructions on how to, for example, remove the diffs or you know, how to do maintenance on specific part of your car. So you'll have to, you know, just learn by yourself. And then there is the list of parts, which are also not exactly categorized. For example, it's just, there's no particular order to them. I know the screws are grouped together, but other than that, it's kind of, you know, you kind of have to guess which part belongs to which, I guess, area of the chassis. So that's done. The body comes clear, and they include stickers and also masking tape. And what's nice about it is, so it comes pre-drilled, and you can see there is a lot of holes. And actually, these are for the skid roof plates that attach to here, here, and here. And they also attach from the underside. I haven't put them on yet, so I don't actually know how they, you know, work specifically. I mean, it's just plastic bits here and here, but that's definitely nice to have. And the body seems very thick. I don't know what thickness they are, but it's nice. Definitely one of the higher quality bodies out there. Also, they have the rest of this stuff, which is wheel hex nut wrench. These are some extra body posts, and this is interesting. This is the vertical body posts, which would be applicable to the previous versions of the car, but not this one, and you'll see why. But basically, the battery compartment, you know, there's no battery box anymore, which used to be on the previous cars, and that's how you attach them, because there would be side walls, but we don't have those anymore. Anyway, maybe I can repurpose them. These are the skid plates, or I call them scoot. Yeah. Some decals and masking tape. Also, they have the tape for the ESC and receiver, but I already put them on, so they're not pictured. Alright, finally the car itself. We'll split the overview into, I think, 5 parts. We'll do the front, the middle chassis, the back, the drivetrain parts, such as hubs, drive shafts, and we'll do the bottom too, and the wheels. Starting with the front, we have the bumper with integrated LED lights. And the bumper, or especially the skid part here, that looks like it's made of the same material as the T-bone bumpers, because it's kind of shiny and it's very different from the rest of the chassis, where it's a composite plastic. But this should probably help with the impact protection. Out of the box, we have the front front skid plate, which we'll show you again when we review the bottom of the chassis. But anyway, we have the lights, like I said, and it's wired quite nicely to the receiver box, so they're tucked in here. While at it, we also review the body posts, which are metal tipped here. Only the tip is metal. The bottom of the, or I guess the body of it, is still the regular plastic. And only the front ones are metal, because the back ones are regular plastic tip. The central part of the chassis, I mean this chassis itself, is quite nice. There is some carbon bits here. As you can see, the biggest part of it is the battery compartment, which is actually on both sides, which is right here and here. So this top deck is made out of carbon. It's really nice and very nicely cut, and it's very, I guess, lightweight. You can see the cutouts, and you can route your batteries, the battery wires through here, and you can also maybe, it's very easy to modify this. It has a Velcro system, and you can see there is already battery pack in here. It's a 3S 5000 milliamp, and you can see it's nicely tucked in here. There is the receiver box, which actually I'm not using because this isn't interesting with the car. It has two receiver boxes. There is also one in the front, which is where I put my receiver. I'm using a FlySky Noble receiver, and it's big and it doesn't fit into the rear receiver box, so that's where I put it. And it's nice in that the wires actually still hidden. You don't see any servo wires, or they don't stick out, because the way Team Magic did it, they give you two options for a receiver box, and they also wire it for both options as well. As you can see, there is a wire here, but it's not a receiver wire, but it's a wire for the lights and for the servo. But what I'm doing is everything goes into the other box. I'll go into detail in another video, but anyway, this is a big positive, so I might as well mention it now. The motor mount probably also deserves its own video, but there is a very nice system. There's a sliding motor mount. This is just a spur gear cover, so it's completely covered on this side. Oh, heavy. Oh, all right. The sliding motor mount has these marks so that you could set your gear mesh, and it's very easy. You just need to use these two screws and you slide it in and out. Like I said, it doesn't come with any electronics. I installed this all myself. Under the cap pack here, there is a ESC power switch. Let me just take it off. Yeah, right here. So depending on the ESC you use, it can fit in here, and then your switch would be nicely tucked in here. I probably will try to use another cap pack, one that fits in here and will be very nicely hidden. The ESC itself is covered by this plastic piece, which I'm not sure what to call it, but basically it's a cover, but it does help you a little bit with cable management. For example, well, I need to definitely resolder all of this, but they stick out on both sides of it, and it kind of helps you, stiffen up your wiring and just help you guide it. What else is here? I think that's about it. Anything else I haven't talked about, I will mention in another video where I talk more about the setup and maybe first run impressions. Let's move to the back. In the back we have both the wing mount and the wheelie bar, and the wheelie bar is very nice. The wheelie itself has nice ball bearings, so it spins quite nicely, and it's also very large. But one thing I'm concerned is that it doesn't have rubber on here. I think it's just hard plastic. Maybe you can mod it to have, what do you call it, skateboard wheels, or just mod other wheels in here. The wing mount, I know on the smaller versions, people used to break them, and there is free 3D print files online, so it's probably be easy enough to modify it. The part that breaks is this T-piece right here, and not the actual whole assembly. But even if you break it, it's probably about 20 bucks to replace it. The wing bar is adjustable. You can see there is two screws here, two long screws, and they're kind of proprietary. And you can remove them to adjust it to go lower or higher. And there is a hop-up that we saw earlier, which extends this wheelie bar even lower. It's probably up to like here, which is, you only need that for like speed runs, and it's alloy, so not recommend for bashing. Cut pack. Onto the suspension and drivetrain. So first off, the shocks are fully alloy. The top cab, the bodies, the standoffs are all very nicely made. You can see they kind of shine, and there is a VGen logo on here. The shock towers are not just alloy, but they're also CNC alloy. So that's different from stamped alloy that you would see on the cheaper or standard versions of the car. The arms are really nice and thick, especially the upper arms. The bottom arms help protect your shock rod end, as you can see here. And and the hubs are also very stout looking. You can see the aluminum pivot ball mounts, which are aftermarket upgrade on the previous versions of the car. The hexes are splined, so they will catch onto your wheels, stock wheels, really nicely. But if you do upgrade to, or if you do buy Proline wheels, you might want to upgrade to regular 17mm hexes. So the only thing that worries me a little bit is that this part is relatively thin, where the steering links are. I'm not sure if this is made on purpose so that this breaks instead of you breaking whole arms or steering links. So we'll see. So in addition to peelable suspension, which I'm not sure if it's a plus or minus, but anyway, it has these really thick drive shafts. I measured them and they're 6mm thick, which is ridiculous. I don't think I've seen any drive shafts that are this thick. Also, all these cups, the diff cups, are upgraded versus the previous versions, and they are very thick. I'm not even sure if there were any issues with the previous versions, but these are just extremely durable looking. So the chassis itself is completely plastic. You can see that the chassis is raised compared to the bulkheads, and this is because it's a true truggy, in the sense that the whole chassis is not flat from here to here, unlike the more popular Kraton and the whole Arma line, some of the Traxxas, Ewevo I think, but those would handle differently. They have much lower center of gravity, so you cannot compare a true truggy like this to other cars that they fly straight as an airplane, like Kraton. People like that, but it's because it's a completely different type of car. Anyway, we have the front skid plate. Yeah, this is not a scoot. The drive shafts again are very thick. The servo usually has a cap on here. I just took it off to show off how it's set up. All the screws are hex screws all around. the rear skid plate is missing, but I bought it from US for some reason, but it's only 30 bucks over there, while if you buy it on RC Wheel Power, which is you know, the main website for spare parts, it's like 45, which is crazy. You can probably make your own for much cheaper. Yeah, so I'll probably be making a carbon like underplate to protect this part, because this is another thing that concerns me a little bit. That, ooh, it's falling off. This part is kind of thin. What you see here is the foam for the battery, but the chassis itself is thin. So my guess is the bulkheads are supposed to take most of the impact. That's why the chassis can be made relatively thin, but we'll see about that. To summarize, I've been really impressed with the car. Everything is incredibly stout, looks very tough. It's reinforced where it's needed, and I think this is one of the cars where if you break something, you don't need to upgrade to anything else. You just buy the stock replacement part and then put it on. And I think it's kind of rare in the RC world where you can find anything of this sort. Here you can see the smaller Team Magic E5. This one I bought secondhand, and I actually never run it yet. I bought it secondhand to prepare for the delivery of the new E5. The same truck, but just the ARR version. But it's out of stock. ARR stands for almost ready to run. And just for size comparison, I also got the wheels. This is for this car, and this is of the E6, and it's huge. So yeah, true 1/8 scale, true 1/10 scale. I'll make a video about the setup impressions, where I'll talk about the servo, the motor, the gear mesh, the battery compartments a little more in detail. But for now, I think this is probably good enough. All right, bye.